John Allen, and this isn't easy. If there is justice in life, this doesn't seem right. First of all, it's premature. And second of all, I should have died before Alex. After all, I'm 8 years older. He was smarter, quicker, and certainly more athletic. And he was more deserving. Why do I say that? I never knew anyone who significantly touched and benefited more lives than he did. His life was about making other people's lives better, to be more productive, and to have a heck of a lot of fun and happiness. And I could use another word, but we're in church. In this, he was hugely successful. Alex and I first met when I hired him at Vidar, a small, promising electronics company in Mountain View. It turned out we had a lot in common. We both grew up in the LA area. We both studied engineering at UCLA. I slipped away and finished at Cal. And we both did graduate work at Stanford, but nearly 10 years apart. When I hired him, I was really pleased with what he turned out to be. He was motivated, very sharp, a quick learn, and he was really personable. It turned out our division was very successful and we grew rapidly. Alex had been one of the nerdy kids in high school, and you've heard about him. He played intense chess and he was passionate about math puzzles. Yet, at the time I met him, I found someone really beyond nerdy. He loved all kinds of people. Frankly, I think he was as close to a universal man as I can remember ever knowing. He was a hit with my late wife, Mary, and he became so with Susan. Well, in 1970, that company got acquired, and Alex and I each went our different ways, ultimately building our own companies. We were busy, but we stayed kind of loosely in touch. 14 years later, in the mid-'80s, he came to me with an offer I couldn't refuse. We became partners in a consultancy that we called Noetic Systems. Nobody knew what noetic meant, but it's a real word. It's of or pertaining to the mind or the intellect, and I felt that really applied to him. We'd both been entrepreneurs, and he just wound down Seagull Enterprises, and I had merged out my last company. I felt Alex had morphed into a marketing and communications genius. He loved technology and the latest developments in all fields, and he wanted to help people who were on the leading edge and just starting out or running into a rough spot. That orientation appealed to me. Over the next decade, he and I had a ball working with over 70 young high-tech companies, from startups to a new subsidiary of a major European corporation. When they had difficulties, we were brought in by the VC or the board or somebody to help determine what was really needed. And we did that, and we stayed around to help them deliver it. Alex became like family to these clients, and they responded to that caring quality in him. Further, he awed them with his great ideas. One of them once said to me, "Alex gave us much more than we had the right to expect." His impact wasn't just through creativity and daring ideas, though. And how do I describe it? I guess the best I can say is that the room actually lit up when he came in. You could see it in people's faces. That's the aspect of him I miss the most. He really didn't have a downside in his makeup. I kept looking, it was hard to find. But at times he could be so frank. He could put it out so directly that it startled people. Here's a personal example in our lives. He once told my wife, Susan, who I admit has a lovely figure, that she was so huggable, so much so, that he insisted that we have a tradition where whenever we met, he was the recipient of an especially strong frontal hug. After a couple of years, she got over blushing. You know, friends, I'll get a little deeper here. We're all made of the same stardust, the same 15 billion-year-old atoms and energy, Took me a long time to flash on that, but it's true. And we're bound in a nearly identical genome. But what a difference is locked in the 1% that is unique in each of us. It's uniqueness, it's this uniqueness that is our greatest gift to each other. And those who knew Alex well can give testimony to the gift that was Alex. Being with him at the end with this incredible family was beyond description. In the aftermath, thinking about that, many sayings have come to me, but here are a couple. I'm Jewish, and so a couple of Jewish things slipped in there. In Judaism, it said that life is valued above all, and every person is of priceless value. And in the Talmud, it says, if someone dies, it's like losing a whole world. These sayings completely apply to Alex, a man who had huge impact and whose life was priceless to those who knew him. I want to close with a short poem. I picked one that aptly describes Alex. It's by a young Hungarian hero, Hanna Senes, who was parachuted into the Balkans to get into Hungary, her home country, and spy for the British. And unfortunately, she was captured and died at their hands in World War II. Her poem is called, she was only 23 at the time. Her poem is called, There Are Stars. There are stars whose light reaches the earth only after they themselves have long extinguished and are no more. And there are men and women whose shining memory lights the world after they themselves are no longer among us. These lights, which shine in the darkest of nights, are the very ones which illumine for us the path. Alex Chang, you are now one of those lights.